Cane and a Ford.
Well, all I know is whoever ends up sitting in the pole, they're probably going to have to figure out how to hold their breath for about 28.5 seconds, because I'm telling you, they were fast today in practice. Now it's cooling down. These guys are putting new tires on there. I think somebody's going to really lay a lap down. I think we will by far see the fastest lap here ever with this new car at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Early in the session, the Fords were fast, then some of the Dodges moved up, some of the Toyotas, but it ended up being a few Chevrolets at the top. But one fellow who spent some time in the top 5 during practice is with Matt Yoakum.
And Mike, when you look at the temperature, it's about 51 degrees, about a 40 or 50 mile an hour wind. It feels like A.J. Allmendinger. You go out early, fast car, but usually you always want to go out late here. But with it being so chilly, is it really going to matter?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Insignia Best Buy Ford was fairly quick in practice. We're kind of working on a different package. We struggled the last couple of weeks, so kind of going in a different direction and felt a little bit better and working on that. And I mean, I've been here before when we qualify at night and the dew kind of from the weather starts getting on the racetrack and makes it slick. So one thing you can't control is the weather or the draw. So we're just going to go out there and try to put a good lap in.
And Krista, he was dancing around not because he's all jacked up about qualifying. It's cold.
It is cold indeed, Matt, but cold temperatures mean fast speeds here at Atlanta. Nobody likes fast more than the Rocket Man. So can you break the pole record at Atlanta today?
Well, we have a good car. The Tornado Chevrolet was really good. And we have a bad draw, so I have one thing working against me. But I think with the weather the way it is, as cool as it is, it's not like the track's going to cool down a whole lot. I don't know that, but I think that. So I got to psych myself up one way or another.
Well, you're an engineering major. It sounds good to me. Go get him, Ryan.
Thanks.
Chris, is that your entourage or Ryan's behind you? That's
definitely Ryan's. That's all Ryan's.
Quite a crowd. Atlanta Motor Speedway reconfigured in 1997 to 1.54 miles, as you see on our Sponsifyer track description. It became D-shaped, much like Bruton Smith's other 1.5 mile tracks, and they moved the backstretch to the front stretch. Interesting place.
So does that make this a 1.5 miles?
1.54.
Okay.
1.5 mile speedway.
Okay.
Kind of like.
Kind of like.
But I think you said
exactly.
it today. It's about 1 mile of corners.
Yeah.
It. Last week, after the final pit stop, part of it, Jimmy Johnson got 4 tires, Jeff Gordon got 2. But the rest of it was they had been tightening up Jeff Gordon's car all day long, and on that final run, he just couldn't hold off Jimmy Johnson. Point out that Kevin Harvick also took 2 tires, as did Jeff Gordon. So several contributing factors, but the result was a familiar one. Jimmy Johnson in victory lane.
You know, looking at this qualifying session, he has the same paint scheme back again, I believe it looks like. But back to this qualifying session, you saw the 24 degrees of banking in the corners. I can almost bet you a bunch of the drivers we interview that maybe don't run as fast as they think they should will probably complain about their cars bottoming out. We heard a lot about that in practice, and obviously when you run faster, you're carrying more speed, you're traveling more, and I bet you we'll see a bunch of cars bottom out.
The way you go into turn 1 down there, the way you kind of swing out next to the wall and then dive it to the bottom, there's a little bit of bump down there right where the tunnel is, and the car will get to hopping right there, and that's where you'll see a lot of sparks. Old Sparky will be coming out.
Joey Logano will be the first driver on the clock.
My pick was for the pole, but it's hard to say because I look at the practice speeds, and you got a 29.27, a 29.29, a 29.30, and a 29.32. Those first 4 cars, I mean, they're just a few hundreds apart. It's hard to say who might pull one off.
A bunch of them are ready to go. Let's meet the man who was 14th quickest in practice with Krista.
And that would be Carl Edwards. He knows all about that winning feeling here in Atlanta. How about the pole feeling? Do you have a car that can do it?
I think we do have a car that can run well. Our draw is not that good, but you know, I'm really excited to be running this throwback paint scheme. It's really cool. They painted the car up just like it looked 5 years ago. I'm even wearing the same socks that I wore 5 years ago.
I hope you washed them.
That's a joke. I'm not wearing the same socks. But I am having a good time with it, and it brings back a lot of memories. You know, a lot changed 5 years ago with that win, and a lot's happened since then, and I'm so fortunate to do all these fun things, and hopefully we have a good run here. I think it's going to get faster and faster as the night goes on, but a good starting spot would mean a lot.
All right, thanks, Carl. Let's head down to Matt Yoakum.
And one of the fastest drivers in practice, Kyle Busch, was second quick. So as the temperature's dropping, how deep into the 28s do you think it'll take to win the pole?
I'm not sure, really. We'll have to wait and see when guys go out late. You know, we go out a little bit early, but yeah, it should be good. We've got pretty good M&M's camera. We're real pumped about it, and just got to thank all the guys. I mean, they've been working 18-hour days in the past few weeks, so it's been a long stretch for them back at the shop, but they've been doing an awesome job. Results haven't quite paid off yet, but the way we've been running has been really good. So we'll see how qualifying goes here tonight, get us a good starting spot, and be ready for Sunday.
And Atlanta, the site where Kyle Busch put the 18 back in victory lane.
Thanks, Matt. As you went around Carl's car, you saw this on the cowl cover. That black piece that the duck is sitting on is the cover for the cowl, and it used to be very easy for a driver to pull off pit road with the pit crew having forgotten to remove that. But now right up there in the driver's view are several reminders.
Well, this is something NASCAR has allowed them to do, because back in the day, not that many years ago, NASCAR taped them up themselves. And we definitely had several cars that went out and qualified with the cowl taped up, and they will not run because it cuts the air off to the engine.
I think we're going to get a pretty good idea, I think, about just how fast this joint is off of Joey Logano here, because as we've always said, these Gibbs cars are usually pretty darn good here at Atlanta, and Joey's got a good year going so far.
Ooh, got close up to the wall there.
That wasn't so good.
Yep, finishes of 20th, 5th, and 6th, Darrell. He is 8th in the point standings. When he ran the Legends cars here on the quarter mile, at age 10, he won 14 straight races here.
Yeah, he's 8th in the points now. This time a year ago, he was 32nd in the points. They were getting nervous about falling outside the top 35. Now he runs a 29.30, so he picked up about 3.5 tenths from what he practiced.
Next, Paul Menard, Casey Kane, and A.J. Allmendinger. Go truck racing.
Mike, my point about that first car out is, you see, he picked up 3 tenths over his practice. Kind of probably see that go through the field. 3 or 4 tenths pickup.
Paul Menard has had a great resurgence this season. Last year, coming into Atlanta, he was 39th in the point standings. Today, he comes in here 17th in the standings in his 4th full season in Sprint Cup racing.
Paul was 19th quickest in practice. He'd run a 29.56, and it looks like he's going to be a little over a tenth quicker than Joey Logano on his lap.
29.18.
Good lap.
Right on 190 miles an hour.
You know, a lot of drivers and a lot of people in the sport think it takes about 3 years to really mature as a Cup driver. You look at Juan Pablo, you look at some of the others that have come along recently. More out of it. Including Paul here, and it's been this is his 4th season, so it seems to make sense.
And I think we'll see this, especially with our top 35 guys. They'll be one and done. I mean, you just start losing grip in the tires. We get to the go or go homers, especially the guys that's not sure about that first lap. Might be a different story.
And as the sun starts to set down here, I don't think it's going to cause a problem for the drivers, but it could. I'm not sure just where it's going to go down in relation to the first turn there, but it looks like it might cause them a problem for a little bit there.
Casey Kane in the Budweiser Ford has 7 top 10 and 11 top 15 starts here, including the pole in 2006 for this race. In fact, since they changed the track configuration, he is the only pole winner to go on and win the race.
Boy, I tell you, he got into one. I mean, he nailed it. And back in the throttle, he was out just instantly right back in it. Car looks like it's really stuck to the racetrack.
Well, good start, good finish for Kane, because 8 of his 11 wins have come from a front row start.
He's going to be pretty fast.
He gets down in the 28s, 28.92.
191.68 miles an hour.
See that little bit of Kane. See that little bit of extra tape on his windshield, kind of anticipating that sun, I think.
A.J. Allmendinger will be the 4th driver to take time. He's in the Insignia Best Buy Ford. Best finish on a 1.5 mile track is 10th at home last November. Excuse me, at Homestead last November. He's finished 25th the last 2 times out.
He stayed up in the top 10 for most of that practice session. Near the end, we had a lot of guys laying down practice qualifying runs. He ended up 20th quickest at a 29.57.
Never had a top 30 start here in 4 attempts. See how this goes.
He looks like he's about 2/10 off, a little better than 2/10 off of what Casey Kane ran, his teammate.
29.20 for the Digger, 189.8.
Right in behind Menard there.
Got a lot of these Fords that are going out early, it looks like.
In practice, Jeff Gordon's car was anything but stellar. Krista, have things improved?
Yeah, well, Mike, he took a lot of momentum out of Las Vegas, but yeah, it kind of halted practice. You were not happy with your race car, but you love this racetrack. How are you going to be, and did you guys figure some things out?
We're going to find out. You know, our teammates are really good, and we're looking at all the data. Yeah, we just weren't able to get the car to do what I wanted to do, but we made a couple of race runs. I was real happy with that. So the car's got plenty of speed in it, and we're excited about having National Guard on board our DuPont Chevy this weekend. And we're going to give it everything we've got. We drew a little bit of an early number here. Got the sun to deal with. I certainly think we're going to be better. I can almost guarantee we're going to be better than we were in practice.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
And Mike, that's a good thing about having teammates. He said I can look at their data and see where I'm off, and that's a big help.
Ryan Newman, the Rocket in the Tornadoes Chevy, tied with Buddy Baker for most career poles here with 7. In his first 9 races here, he had 7 poles. He had a string of 9 straight front row starts.
This might be pretty good. Oh, he lost a little bit right there.
I was going to say he drove it awfully deep into turn 3 and got by with it, but then he lost it late exit. But he's down in the 28s, just 2 100ths off of Casey Kane.
Way off, 2 100ths. Good grief.
Newman will make his 300th Sprint Cup start here on Sunday. Matt?
And Mike, catching up with Casey Kane, you can see the sun is blazing. How difficult was it for you going into turn 1?
It's super difficult. I don't even know why we're starting right now. I mean, all I gotta do is start 20 minutes later. You know, it's nighttime. I don't think they have anything else going on after this. But you're blind. You turn in. I mean, I hope this is the right spot. I missed it by a little bit, but we still ran a pretty good lap. Budweiser Ford was fast, and I don't know. That's all I had with the sun in my eyes. I think some guys will beat that later, but that was a great time for when we win, I think.
All right, thanks, Casey.
Well, there is a race that follows this. NASCAR's Whelen Southern Modified Tour will race here on the quarter mile after qualifying. Congratulations to James Savali, who got the pole for Hillbilly Racing. Josh Nichols, Frank Fleming, Adam Gay, and Burt Myers will be the front 5 when they take the green here just before about 8 o'clock tonight.
I was worried about that sun when we started. I wasn't real sure how that was going to, what the drivers were seeing. I just know from up here it looked pretty bad.
Well, Darryl, you remember racing here late in the afternoon, windshield sandblasted. I mean, a lot of times you couldn't pass the car in front of you because you needed to follow him into turn 1.
That's right, and you just hope that you just hope he was where he was the last time you saw him.
Greg Biffle driving for the U.S. Census in his 3M Ford. Third with a 29.04, 190.8 miles an hour.
Couldn't see anything.
Couldn't see anything. That sun is low in the sky.
That's a shame.
Right where you need to turn in for turn 1, Darryl. That is right where it catches you just square in the face.
What if I was getting ready to go qualify, I'd be running down there and taping up my windshield. So, I mean, all you really need is almost a crack to see out of. You don't need the sun in your eyes.
You know, this track is so steeply banked. If you take that windshield too far down, can you see around the corner?
You can for qualifying. I mean, it's not like you're out there with other people and you kind of know the line. You just need to be able to see the line. You can see Carl. He has no tape on his windshield whatsoever.
I believe he's got a clear shield on
and
too.
So you can see right there how much sun is in his eyes, and he's almost like he missed that turn almost.
And I think the tracker pretty much shows you that he either overdrove the turn or he missed his entrance.
199 miles an hour into the corner.
I think he missed it, Larry. I think he was just in there late.
3 victories here, 1 front row start. That resulted in a win.
Came back a little time there. Four looked pretty good.
He ran a 29.51 in practice. He picks up a half a second to a 29.01, but he lost a lot of time, I think, down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he made up for it in terms of coming off turn 4. He looks like he thinks he might be able to improve.
He might play 2 here. But his first lap was 3 100ths faster than Greg Biffle.
I'm glad he's doing it, though, because you always wonder if somebody really went for a second lap, would they pick up or not? And I don't think he's going to lose all that much. He lost off 4 there.
You could see the car starting to get loose with him on the exit.
Yeah.
So Carl Edwards, the first driver to run a second lap, stands 3rd. Coming up, Marcus Ambrose, Kevin Conway, Tony Stewart.
this week what Buddy Baker used to show him about racetracks, about getting around them for qualifying, and you could never guess in 100 years what he did with him, but you'll have to tune in to trackside to hear the answer.
Yeah, and I want to ask Martin about his singing. So we're going
on the commercials.
On his commercials.
We got a lot of questions asked those boys.
Inquiring minds want to know, or at least people on Twitter want to know.
Marcus Ambrose in the Lance Snacks Toyota has never had a top 10 start here, and for a while it looked like, well, it looks like now he could get up on the front row for a bit here.
Oops. He ran a 29.47 in practice with this Toyota. You could see it pretty loose late exit of turn 4. That's, you just fight here, bottoming out and loose in and loose off.
Fourth with a 29.03. Krista?
The defending race winner, Kurt Busch. I know the crew told you about that sunshine down there in turn 1. Is that a concern at all?
I'm thinking about it, but hey, we're wide open through there anyway, so what's the sun matter? No, the track is really cooled off. I don't know. Sometimes it can get too cold and your car will go loose or tight on you, but hey, we feel like we got a pretty good shot at it with our Miller Lite Dodge. Last week was a nice surprise, but I'm noticing Steve Addington has helped me a lot in qualifying so far this year.
All right, fantastic.
You know, guys, with these cars just running one lap, I'm not sure for our top 35 guys if the sun's going to get down far enough to not be in their eyes.
Mike, you remember Rosanna Dana, right?
Oh, yeah.
Saturday Night Live. Yeah. It's always something. That's kind of what Kurt's it can be too hot, it can be too cold.
It's not always one thing, it's another.
It's always something.
Kevin Conway, the rookie, 36th in owner points, but if they move up to 35th, they would displace their teammate's car.
Yeah.
And Travis Kvapil, who's in that other car, drove this car at Daytona and then climbed into the 34.
Yeah, they're only 7 points behind, outside the top 35.
First trip here in a Cup car for Conway, and he's in at 29.99. That's a full second off the pole, but they will race on Sunday with a lap of 184.8.
But he did pick up well over a half a second from what he practiced.
Let's show you a look at the danger zone. And there you see Kvapil just above the line and Conway below. And it's just one more race before we start using 2010 owner points to determine the top 35 qualifying exemption.
And that's a battle that goes on all the way normally to the last race at Homestead Miami Speedway.
Tony Stewart making his 23rd trip to Atlanta on a Cup car. He has led more laps than anyone since they changed the track to this configuration and has 2 victories here.
But he has led some laps here. He's led a total of 790 laps, Tony Stewart has.
200 going into the corner.
But I don't think it paid off for him. I think he'd probably been wise to lift out a little earlier. What the guys tell me is it's kind of funny. They let off before they ever get to the corner. But then you've got to get back in it wide open and run the whole corner wide open. But you have to get off the gas to get the car to settle. Then you get back in it and try to hold it wide open all the way through the corner.
That's all I want right there.
6th for Tony, 29.07, 190.69.
That's a lot if that's all he wants.
Coming up, Elliott Sadler and Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane quickest so far. Casey and the Rocket, Ryan Newman. Carl Edwards currently 3rd. 3 Fords, 1 Chevy, 1 Toyota in that top 5. As Elliott Sadler takes to the track in the Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford. Elliott has 1 second place start here. And he has a string of 7 top 10s out of 11 races grouped together, but it's been a while since he had a top 10 start. That was when he started outside pole here in 2007.
He was pretty decent in practice. All the Richard Petty cars were pretty respectable. He was sitting back there 16th quickest. He had run a 29.51, and right now, going off into turn 3, 199, 200, just clicked at 200. He's flirting with that front row. In fact, he's flirting with the pole now.
Yeah, he lose a little off that corner right there.
It's going to be a great lap for him now.
These old boys, the Hunts Brother Pizza guys, they're all out of Nashville. A bunch of good guys.
Well, they'll like this.
Good job, Bubba.
Bubba.
28.96.
Normally it's Ricky Bobby, but we'll take Bubba today.
That's right. Matt.
Mike, we just missed a drive-by by Carl Edwards telling Marcos Ambrose, his process, close one eye and look for the yellow line. What was yours?
Well, I didn't do a very good job whatever I chose to do. You know, the sun's bright and it's not too bright. You think, oh, I'll get away with it, but it's just at the wrong spot. As you turn in at one, I mean, it just hits you between the eyes. And I thought, I'm going to stay up high, I'm going to be high, because I didn't want to pinch it off low. And then once I get through the sun, I was too low. So, you know, just roll the dice. And I don't know, it's the way it is. We've had pretty bad draws here lately. We had a great car. We've got Lance on board. First time this year. We're really excited about that. So we've got a strong race car. I'm sure we'll give it a chance to run top 10, maybe even get it to victory lane.
Marco's currently fifth.
You know, Mike, I've been coming to Atlanta Motor Speedway in the spring since 1979. I never thought I'd see the day someone would complain about the sun in Atlanta in March.
Yeah, we've been snowed out here, Larry, quite famously. Jeff Gordon in the DuPont Chevrolet.
He's on a pole run.
Yes, he is.
That was not a pretty corner, but he's making it up. You know,
I believe he rolled out a little bit early and got back in it.
This is much better than what we had. I don't know if it's good enough. Great job, guys.
Oh, yeah.
28.90, 191.77. Jeff Gordon goes from junk in practice to P1.
Yep.
He always gives us that commentary. Sometimes it's woo-hoo-hoo, or maybe like California. Oh brother. He knows. He knows when he's on a good run.
Well, you know, is a two-time pole winner here so far.
You know you got a good car when you can whack the wheel the way he was and the car just keeps turning, you know. I mean, that's just because it's going so fast. You got to stay on top of it, but he was on top of it all the way around the corner.
Now, Kyle Busch was pretty quick in practice. Remember 2008 when he got the first Cup Series win for Toyota. And he's qualified top 10 here the last 3 races that we've had time trials in Atlanta.
Yeah, he ran a 29.29 in practice, so if he picks up those 3 or 4 tenths like what we've been seeing, and boy, that car is digging through 1 and 2. I mean, it's hunting the bottom of the racetrack.
It is.
Jeff Gordon's stay on the pole may be short-lived here.
If he doesn't overdrive turn 3.
Hook in the bottom.
Boy, he picked that throttle up, and look at the clock. Because you're in the throttle wide open right there. It's going to be a great lap for Kyle Busch.
It's going to be about a 70.
P1 28.83. That beats Jeff Gordon by 7/100ths.
Now, are the cars getting faster, Larry, or is the track getting faster?
Boy, I don't know. It's the last 2 cars are showing that the track's getting fast.
Seems that way, doesn't it?
Matt?
And catching up with Elliott Sadler, if you had to do your lap over again, was there one end of the racetrack that you might have done a little bit different?
I'd like to have 3 and 4 maybe back again, but to be honest with you, we hadn't qualified as good as we would like the last couple of races. We put a lot of emphasis and a lot of effort in it today. Got Hunt Brothers Pizza on board for this weekend. Beautiful car, and I'm very happy with that effort. I think we came a long way as a team today. Now we got to put it all together tomorrow and do it again on Sunday, but proud of our effort today.
All right, good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
Now that's a pair of sunglasses. Those are the puzzle pieces for the fight to cure autism, a cause that's very important to Elliott. As Kurt Busch comes onto the speedway, and right away he is on it in the Blue Deuce.
Now he missed turn 1 big time. I don't know if he intended to do that or not. I think not. I believe he'll tell you the sun may have caused him to get up the hill there.
He has 2 outside front row starts here.
Including a year ago when he went on to lead about 234 of 320 something laps.
Well, he's not going to be happy with this little ride.
7th quickest.
Brian Vickers is on NASCAR's 5-minute clock to present his car for its qualifying attempt. David Reagan is next. Singers, dancers, comedians, and more. Fast Track to Fame, Monday evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern. Home track for David Reagan in the UPS Ford. Home track for his sponsor. And you could see him work that wheel hard as the tracker moved off that pole position run.
Couldn't carry that much speed off that corner. I mean, he got into one great, but couldn't keep it. Now he's got his hands full.
Yeah, and you can just see the tracker continuing to go the wrong direction. Boy, that thing was just sliding in a 4-wheel slide off turn 4.
He had 1 good corner, but he had 3 bad ones.
4 top 10 starts here. This will not continue that string. 29.09 for David Reagan. And watch the hands through the windshield. coming off turn 2.
And this is at about 180 miles an hour, and you can see the front end starting to slide, pushing, and that's what he's trying to do. He just keeps jerking that wheel to the left, trying to get the car to turn.
Yeah, those hands do not lie.
This is turn 4.
And now he's made his tires mad. And when the tires get mad, the car just wants to, watch this, it just starts getting loose and sliding all over the place.
Matt?
Well, Jeff Gordon still sits second. DW is very descriptive of how you were behind the wheel. How edgy was it out there?
It was a little edgy off of 2. We've been fighting tight through practice, and trust me, that was nothing compared to practice. I'm real proud of this team. That was a great lap. I know it's not a pole lap, but what a huge pickup. And I know the track's gotten a lot more grip in it, but the car just drove both ends, you know, about the same. And I got a little bit loose off of 2, and that was the only time I was really worried and was sawing at the wheel, I guess as DW puts it. Whacking at the wheels, I would say. But no, it was a good lap. Real proud of Steve Letarte and all the guys. I mean, they worked so hard for practice. We thought we had a good car for our race runs, but we were way off. So that's certainly going to be better than 35th where we were in practice.
You think you've ever heard anybody at Atlanta in the spring complain about the sunshine?
No. I actually lucked out. I was going to put a dark shield on it, and I said, no, I think we'll be all right. And it went down behind the billboards right as I went. So I got lucky with the sun, and I needed my sight because the way practice has been going for me today, I need to be able to see every square inch of the racetrack out there.
You know what? I think he's right, guys. I guess because we're up here in the booth, it's still staring us right in the eye, but I guess down low it is behind those billboards.
And Casey Kane made a good point. 20 if qualifying had started at, say,
20 after
6, 25 after, would have been a little different for everybody. But you see the bright lights are now on. The sun is dipping below the horizon of the billboards down in turn 1. Brian Vickers' lap was good for 14th, 29-21. And here's Junior, who this week announced a $1 million donation to Victory Junction Gang Camp.
It's going to build the Dale Jr. Corral and amphitheater for those guys. And I tell you what, look at that tracker. Back to Brian Vickers real quick. We watched what happened to him, just what we were talking about, bottoming out at both ends of the racetrack. This is a great run on Dale Earnhardt Jr. right here.
My man down in the garage, the real men that like to work in the garage, he told me that they made some pretty major changes to this car. And Junior said, go for it, boys.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, that's what he did.
28.76 good for Dale Jr.
Over 192.5 miles an hour.
First time I've seen those people standing up today.
Well, they've been frozen to their seats till now.
Stuck.
It's a little chilly there. Matt is with the man who until just this moment was on the pole.
He was indeed on top of the pole. You got knocked off, but still pleased with your lap. Describe it.
It was good. It was fast. It probably could have had a little bit more, but not much. So, it was a good run for the M&M's Camry. Real happy with that and the way the guys and Dave have been working real hard on everything. So, we'll take that with our Camry and see what we can't get here tomorrow, work on some race trim stuff, and get better for Sunday.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. quickest, 10 top 10 finishes, 1 win and 1 pole here. And here is Mark Martin.
Yep. This could be the guy right here.
Well, he was the fastest in practice.
Yep. He usually is good for a little pickup, so he doesn't have to pick up much. Oh, me. He just lost a bunch right there.
This will be his 49th Atlanta start, and he carried the most sustained shot of 200-mile-an-hour speed down into the corner of anybody yet.
But the car kind of rocked back and forth from front to rear real quickly right there, and they lost some grip.
Yeah, I mean, just comparing it to Kyle Busch's car. You saw Kyle Busch's car like it was just down in the racetrack. Yeah. This car's been popping up and down.
Yeah, it's porpoising a little bit.
Third, not shabby, 28.90 for Mark Martin. Not the pole like last year, but third's not all bad. 5 p.m. Eastern on Speed. Matt Kenseth, 15th here last September. That was his best qualifying effort here since he started 4th back in 2000.
Yeah. Darryl, that was interesting on that tracker. He definitely soft pedaled it getting in the corner, and then he really picked up the throttle, but it's almost like when he drove across one of those seams, the car jumped up on him right there.
Once he got back to the gas area, it just started sliding the nose up the hill. Just no front grip.
No birthday present here for Matt Kenseth, who turns 38 on the 10th.
Down in there a little better that time, but still lost a good bit of speed off it too. But that first lap, like the tires didn't have any heat in them.
Well, he's definitely going for this second one, and if you see the little yellow stripe there, that represents his first lap, so he may indeed improve on that first lap.
Matt Kentz is one of those guys, if he sat out there and ran 10 laps, his 10th lap would be the fastest.
And he definitely picks it up.
29.05, 190.7. Something a little too shiny out there in turn number 4. Looks like a piece of metal, so NASCAR will check that. We'll check with Krista.
Yeah, getting colder down here, Mike, but that's good news for guys like Clint Boyer. How excited are you about these colder temperatures?
Well, I'm excited. Them boys have been putting up some laps. So the BB&T Chevrolet was a little bit off in practice with Shane. All the guys went back and worked on a little bit and tuned it in. And I'm going to go out here and give it my best. Hopefully we'll get it up front.
All right, thanks, Clint.
You know, I think there's several reasons that's contributing to these speeds. I think we have optimum track condition, but Goodyear came down here and did a tire test during January, brought 4 teams. And this is the 6th different tire combination we've run here in 6 races. They keep trying to tailor a tire for this car and this racetrack. And the construction, how the tire is built left and right, has more grip. And then the compound on the right sides are softer. That contributes to a lot of grip and a lot of speed.
But how fast is this track tonight? Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s lap is faster than any pole position speed of all of last year, Matt.
And Dale Jr. already has 1 pole here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. How edgy was that lap?
It was, we were pretty loose, I guess, but the guys worked on the car real hard today, and the Ampere National Guard Chevrolet run a good lap. So we were pretty happy in practice, but there were some guys going a little faster, and we knew that the time of day would be a little bit different and change the cars a little bit. And you know, it's really, really fast. You know, you just got to hang on. I think there's a lot of cars out there that can run that fast. You just got to hang on to it.
Edgy and fun, or edgy and not fun?
Well, it's not something you want to do over and over and over all day long. But, you know, when you can do it and do it right, it's pretty cool.
All right, congratulations. Krista?
Kevin Harvick had a little bit of a tire rub in that practice, but we also know he's very good at this track. It has so many memories for you. How excited are you about your qualifying lap, and what's it going to be like?
Well, I don't know about qualifying, but you know, we're excited for race trim. We had a little bit of trouble the first couple of qualifying runs with our Shell Pennzoil Chevy, but the last run was decent. Obviously, got a lot of pickup that comes when it gets dark and cool like this. So we'll get what that takes us, and then we'll race them hard on Sunday.
And he's running the truck this weekend too, and he was very fast in that practice today.
Yeah, when I look who's left to go out, not to shortcut anybody, but I think obviously the Earnhardt Ganassi cars, Montoya, he was awfully quick, the 3 Childers cars, and Jimmy Johnson, the last top 35 car to go out. He'll go out 35th in that 48 car.
Another thing, Larry, is I noticed the wind is that I know it's still just a skosh windy out there, but it's much calmer out there wind-wise. That's got to be helping a little bit too.
Robbie Gordon from Orange, California. His only Cup pole came here, and he's in the Blake Shelton Camry. Blake Shelton on the hood of this car, part of the collaboration that he has, relationship with BAM Racing.
Yeah, and you know, you interview all these drivers and they talk about the guys working hard back at the shop. Let me tell you about the guys that worked on this car right here. This is a brand new race car. It did not get here until 3 o'clock this morning. In fact, they had to bring it down in a smaller trailer because they parked the haulers last night. So they had to send it down in a separate trailer where the big hauler could come on down and get parked.
19th on the first lap for Gordon. Looks like he's going to play 2.
No, he's done.
Brad Keselowski's car is on the 5-minute clock. Then it'll be Denny Hamlin, Travis Kvapil, Sam Hornish.
Focus.
Hamlin had a great finish to 2009, but is off to not the fastest start in 2010 with finishes of 17th, 29th, and 19th last week at Las Vegas.
Yeah, they fought that car all day long. They were loose from the drop of the green flag out there last week.
I really think that I rode out of the racetrack with Denny out in California, and I don't think I'd ever seen him so down. You know, he had all kind of trouble at California. Had a flat, spun out, got a speeding ticket. I don't know what all happened to him. And he was really down, and I think that's still carrying over.
Well, I think he's going to be down about this qualifying lap because he was 6th quickest in practice. Right now he's 15th.
And last year, Hamlin started both races here from the top 10. Tonight, maybe tough to hang on to the top 20. Osmond Montoya comes out. You see all these winter weather jackets that everybody's sporting. The temperature is still hovering right about 50 degrees, but that stiff wind is making it feel like it's about 40 out. The wind chill make it more like about 40 out there. Here is Keselowski and the Penske Dodge. Average finish in 3 Nationwide and 3 Truck Series races here is 18th. Finished 4th in the Nationwide race here last September. He is one of 5 drivers trying to make their first Atlanta Cup start tonight.
Really struggled in practice today. They were all over the place, ended up 41st quickest, and you can just see he's got his hands full with this race car.
That all started getting in the corner. The nose went down, the front came up, and this car is a handful, 2 hands full.
He and Kevin Conway will be in the race. They're in the top 35. Boris said Michael McDowell and Terry Cook hoping to join them when we get to knockout qualifying.
It's just not down in the racetrack. It's pushing, it's loose.
Well, it's 19th, 29-24.
Yeah, that didn't look good at all. Not the kind of comfortable car you want to try to go around this joint in 9 seconds.
Very tight, says Keselowski. Travis Kvapil, Sam Hornish next. The 23rd driver to take time will be Travis Kvapil. He turned 34 years old on March 1st. NASCAR's Truck Series champion of 2003. In the Long John Silver's Ford.
Now, Travis did not even run in the 29-second bracket in practice earlier today. He was actually at a 30-17, and right now he's looking to be the slowest of our 23 cars to qualify so far. I mean, this is one of those tracks. You watch it, you hear it, you see it. You qualifying especially, you've just got to attack it and be aggressive. But to do that, that piece has to be under you.
You got to believe in that race car. You got to believe that it's going to stick. And when you believe it and you go down in the corner and it doesn't, then all bets are off. You just try to get it back to the start-finish line.
Kvapil 22nd of 23 with a 29.89. Krista?
Mike, forget about Long John Silvers. We just need Long Johns down here. It's that cold. David Rudeman and I talking about that. And another birthday boy, the 2nd anniversary of your 39th birthday, right? That's what we say.
Yeah, or 40 is the new 30, however you want to look at it. But I think we got a pretty good Airstream machine tonight. We got Mitsubishi Electric on there. They make some cool digital TVs. So I'm hoping if we'll go out and get a good qualifying effort, maybe I can get them to give me a TV. I'm hoping.
All right, Rudeman turned 39+1 on Tuesday.
Sam Hornish Jr. qualified the top 15 his last 2 races here. Last 2 races, and he's run 4 times here.
That car just makes me nervous watching it. Sam just cannot get this car in the racetrack.
Yeah, when it goes up the racetrack like it did in 1 and 2, the only way you can finally get it to settle down is get completely out of that throttle. He's going to be back there with his teammate right now, Brad Keselowski. Kurt Busch right now is 9th.
21st, 29.59, and going for 2.
That thing is just, it's pushing loose. Wow. The nose takes off, you turn into the slide of the nose, and that makes the back end come around. That's the worst feeling in the world for a driver.
Sam was one of the 4 teams that did the tire test down here in January, along with Carl Edwards, Martin Truex Jr., and Mark Martin.
Second verse a little quicker, 29.33. Hornish stands 21st. Martin Truex, Jeff Burton, Clint Boyer coming up. Truex Jr. was the pole sitter here last fall, one of 3 top 10 starts in 10 races at this track, where he made his Cup Series debut back in 2004.
I mean, really, when you think about Martin Truex Jr., the deck should be stacked. He did the tire test here. His crew chief, Pat Trice, and won this race a year ago with Kurt Busch. He about hit the wall at late exit turn 2 there.
That took a lot of speed off that baby. Because he had to get out of it, or I was going to smack the fence.
Yeah, this is not going to be what these guys are looking for at all.
I thought this guy had a shot at maybe knocking Junior off the pole, but not tonight. He's bringing that baby to the house.
Taking the 1 3/4 route around. 29.09 for Truex. Regan Smith had been scheduled to go in the Furniture Row Chevrolet, but that car is just coming through inspection and is on the 5-minute clock right now, coming out to pit road. So we'll see him in a few minutes here.
He's in there trying to get buckled up right now, like you said, Mike, on the 5-minute clock.
Jeff Burton will be our next qualifier. This will be his 32nd trip to Atlanta Motor Speedway in a Cup car. He got his first top 10 here, or first top 10 in Cup in his first race here in 1994.
He's finished 4th here 4 times, and he was 24th quickest in the practice session earlier.
See, Jeff Burton's one of those kind of drivers is if his car wasn't handling good, you'd never know it, because he's not going to drive it to the point to where it won't handle good. He drives it right up to the edge.
You know, we talked about this in practice today. When you look at the last 5 races, the last 2 of last year and the first 3 of this year, an RCR car has finished 2nd in 4 of those 5 races, including Jeff Burton finishing 2nd in the last 2 of last year.
I should have said you'll never know it by the way the car looks. Now, you might know it by the lap time.
He is the 6th quickest Chevy, 17th overall, with a 29.14. Here's his teammate Clint Boyer.
Yeah, all these Childress cars got a pretty late draw, and there's no question darkness is upon us now.
And that transition, Larry, when the bright sunlight and then the lights come on and it gets dark like this, the track takes on a totally different appearance. The perception and your depth perception actually changes a little bit from the sunlight, bright sunlight, to the night light.
Clint Boyer 2nd in the standings. He's had 2 top 10 starts, and all 3 races have resulted in top 10 finishes. 4th at Daytona and 8th in the following 2 weeks.
Yeah, somebody asked Hammond, you know, what's the difference of racing in the daylight and the dark? He said, no really difference, it's just dark. It's just dark at night.
But you know, I think it was A.J. Allmendinger that said it earlier when we interviewed him, especially when it's cold like this. I don't know that you want to be one of those last cars, because he's right. You almost get a little bit of dew or moisture that starts getting on the racetrack.
Just a whole lot of that has to do with the tire combination. They got fairly soft tires. They like a cold racetrack, but their tires are a little on the hard side. That don't work so hot.
29.09. Clint Boyer is 1 and done in the BB&T Chevrolet. Boris Said and Kevin Harvick next. Boris Said making his first Atlanta start of any kind in any NASCAR series.
Really?
Yeah, I'm surprised to see that.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, because when he ran in the truck series, I don't think the trucks were racing here.
No. Finished lead lap at Daytona in 25th place. Had rear end trouble in the following 2 races.
He becomes the first car not to at least get in the 29s, 30-30, the slowest of the 28 cars.
So Southern Pride number 26 is 28th of 28. And Krista is a man whose record at Atlanta is so impressive, they've named a grandstand for him.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, talk about Southern pride. Some things just go together, like the 21 Atlanta and this man, Bill Elliott. You guys have a shot at the pole tonight?
I don't think so. I just hope we make it in this thing. I mean, you know, we kind of struggle there in practice, and it's just kind of the way it is. You know, if you get off and, you know, not running every week, it's hard on everybody, and I keep saying that kind of over and over, but it's kind of one of those things. It is what it is, and we got to make the best of it, and just hopefully we can come here and pull something out.
I know we love seeing him here, and especially in this car at this track.
Well, if he's struggling like he kind of comes across, he'll be a huge Bobby Labonte fan, because Bobby would get the championship provisional, otherwise Bill would get in on it.
Here's Happy Harvick in the Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. His first Cup race at Atlanta was that memorable win in 2001. beating Jeff Gordon by 6 1/1000ths of a second. He's the point leader, comes in here 47 points ahead of his teammate Boyer.
And you know, there's been a lot of talk about what Kevin will do for the future, and I just talking to him, I just strongly believe, he said, you know, I've got all the big trophies that you get racing. He's won the Daytona 500, he's won Indy, he's won the shootout, he's won the All-Star race. He said, I'm going to be and race where I can get that one trophy that's missing, obviously the championship trophy.
24th on this run with a 29.33. Regan Smith, the Furniture Row Chevrolet, Hendrick Power, and Richard Childress, Chassis and Engineering, as Smith will make his 3rd Cup start here tonight. Right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the pole sitter, and his lap of 192.7 is the fastest qualifying lap ever run with the COT platform anywhere.
Yeah, it was at Charlotte last year. We were now 192 at Charlotte last year, but not. This is a skosh quicker. I don't see but a couple more guys that might be able to beat that time Dale Jr. put up there. I don't know if McMurray can, and Montoya maybe, Jimmy Johnson possibly.
I think that'll be the ones he has to watch the closest.
I believe you're right. Regan Smith was 31st in practice.
And Mike, you touched on it. A lot of people may say, wait a minute, why, if he's affiliated with Richard Childress, would he use Hendrick engines? Well, he's honoring a contract that we had with Hendrick. And I've heard a lot of people say, if you worry about Bernie Visser paying his bills, you're going to grow old worrying that he pays his bills as good as anybody in that garage, Jerry.
Good to hear. 26th for Regan Smith with a 29.49. 5 more cars, and then we move to knockout qualifying. Daytona 500 winner. Doesn't that just have a nice ring to it in front of your name?
And he will tell
Jamie
you it
McMurray.
does.
You betcha.
We were meeting with him, and the television was on, and Darrell's coach, and it came on and said that. He said, don't you just love hearing that?
Right.
It's a proud moment, I'm going to tell you.
Well, he was Daytona 500 winner, didn't cut any slack last week in Las Vegas, where he went into the turn and he was pushing up as Juan Montoya was coming down, and Kurt Busch came from behind at lap 93. All 3 cars continued. Montoya, after some garage time, with a pretty good amount of damage.
That's winning Daytona is as high as it can get. Reckon your teammate's about as low as it can get.
There were harsh words, but they've made up. Everything's fine. Everybody's moving forward at Earnhardt Ganassi Racing.
I see a little bit of bottoming out. Looks like in the area, maybe like where the trailing arm mounts, right in the middle of the race car.
20th for Jamie Mack, 29.19.
So he only picked up about 2/10 from what he practiced.
Coming up, David Gilliland and Jamie's teammate Montoya, then Rudeman and Jimmy Johnson. 30 cars have taken time, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a lap faster than any qualifying lap yet with NASCAR COT chassis. And here is David Gilliland in the Taco Bell Ford.
David was 39th quickest in practice earlier.
And I guess in a couple of weeks we're going to get rid of the wing and we're going to go to the rear spoiler back on the cars like what we're all accustomed to seeing. Across the board, the drivers have told me they like the car better with the spoiler on it. That the car overall, front to rear balance, is much, much better when you put the rear blade on it.
Yeah, it looks like the dot on the radar continues to be Martinsville, or a half-mile short track. They've got a big test at Charlotte Motor Speedway the week leading into Martinsville. But I like, if they do it at Martinsville, we'll first do it at a half mile. Then we'll go to Phoenix, a 1 mile. Right. Then the Texas, a 1.5 miles, and then the Talladega.
Gilliland is 27th with a lap of 29.43. He's 27th of 32. 3 more cars, and then we move to knockout qualifying with 3 cars to go home.
That's not a bad lap for David. That's a 27th quick. 29.43, not too bad.
Not at all.
Quicker than both his teammates. Juan Pablo Montoya, ex-Formula 1 and IndyCar star.
Now watch this line. This will be unique.
He was 5th quickest in practice at a 29.38, so he would have to pick up that good half a second if he wants to get up there in Dale Earnhardt Jr. land.
Here's what Daryl's talking about into turn 1.
Way up.
High.
And now watch. You say, oh no, that's terrible. But watch him come off of turn 2 now.
Keeps her wound up, yeah.
Comes back. Keeps coming back because you get that good speed down the straightaway.
Wow.
Normally he'll he'll hook the bottom here.
If he gets off this corner good, he can carry that speed. I don't know that it's going to get there though, but what a lap for him. 3rd quickest.
Good job.
28.85, just 2/100ths off Kyle Busch.
He loves this racetrack, and he runs this place as good as anybody I've ever seen.
From the minute he first came here.
That's a sigh of relief.
This is the same car that Juan drove to a 3rd place finish here last Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, he got a top 5 his first race here, which was his first career top 5 finish.
When you qualify here at that kind of speed, you're just glad it's over with. Don't count old Rudy Tootie here out either, because hey, he's a good qualifier and he gets around here really well too.
Didn't practice all that well, Daryl. He was 25th in practice, and he does not yet have a top 15 start here. Let's see if tonight's the night.
Yeah, his best start is 18th 1 year ago. Did have a good run here in the fall, though. Had a top 5 run.
No, it's going up the hill right there, and that's not the plan. Car just kind of shoves the nose up the hill, kills the speed off the corner.
This week it's the Mitsubishi Electric Toyota.
Do you see the difference in his time off of turn 2 and Juan Montoya's? Juan's up high, get a lot of straightaway speed. Dave's down low, and the car just would not come up out of the hole.
It's going to be a pretty good run for him, Darrell. He's in the top 10 right now. He's 9th quickest. You know, our old buddy David Ruderman right now has the longest streak of races without a DNF, sitting at 44 races.
Juan Montoya describing his lap.
It's all in the glasses. I know it is.
Smiling about it. He is 3rd on the board. And here's the man who everybody thought had the best draw of the top 35 teams. He drew 35th. 4 times he has qualified 3rd here. And he has started top 15 in 16 of his 17 races at Atlanta.
And they had a very strange practice agenda during that hour-and-a-half practice. They waited almost 20 or so minutes before they even went out. And so all they did was focus on practice qualifying runs.
He may not get the pole, but I bet he's pretty darn close.
7th in practice.
Car got loose right there, right in the middle of the corner, big time.
Did you see it spark? Yeah, it was upset right there in the middle of that corner, and that just killed that lap.
It's going to be a good run for him, but it's not going to get him even close. So he lost a lot of ground there in 3 and 4.
I think the car is way loose getting in the corner, and he just can't get it in there. That's surprising. Wouldn't have thought that.
Picks up a little at the end to 16th with a 29.08. Matt?
Well, he was jumping up and down trying to stay warm. You were shaking your hands when you came in. That was some lap.
Yeah, it was good. We were really tight in practice, made some adjustments. Still a little tight, but it's good. Starry Chevy is good. A good car every week. Tell you, today is the first time in a long time we come out into practice and say, ooh, doesn't drive that good. So we had to work on it a lot today, and seems the track has slowed down a little, and to run that fast is pretty cool. And I was telling the guys, if we could run to the middle of 3 and stop it, watch that would be very good. I'm sure I lost a little bit out of 4. I got just, as soon as I pick up the wheel, just, throttle, the nose just washes, and it's kind of hard.
All right, thanks, Juan.
No problem.
So we move into go or go home qualifying. Scott Speed will be the first of the drivers who must make this race on time.
You know what? I've just picked up on something that Juan said, and it's like we had that one little group that went out. They went out 12th, 13th, 17th, and 18th, and those 4 guys are 4 of our top 5 right now.
Yeah, and I think the drivers probably nailed it. I think it was Allmendinger, that it can get too cold.
Yeah, I think that's when there was still a little heat in the track and maybe not so much sun in the eyes, and who knows. Because, yeah, things have gotten chilly as Scott Speed's first lap is 28th quickest with a 29:32.
Let me tell you something else. I know you may think I'm crazy. Most people do. Standing around all this time waiting, freezing to death, kind of all stiff and cold. You get in a race car, you just can't get relaxed.
Well, now, what was that range from where to where?
It was, they went out 12th, 13th, 17th, and 18th.
Now, that's interesting because last year's pole sitter, Mark Martin, went out 12th last year.
How about that? Think there's something here.
We're on to something.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The track record set by Jeff Bodine right after the track was reconfigured and repaved in 1997. And Jeff will be in the truck race.
Hoosier tires, and I'm pretty sure the throttle hung wide open on that car.
Put both feet up on the throttle pedal.
Come on.
You got it.
Matt?
And Jimmy Johnson, so if you had that lap to do over again, could you do it any better at one end or the other?
I don't know where I was slow, to be honest with you. That was a decent lap. We were concerned about overdriving the entry to 3, so I may have been a little conservative there, but I'll have to go back and look at Dartfish and lap tracker and all that stuff to get a better understanding, because I thought that was decent. You know, I figured it'd be top 5, but 16th as of now and probably going down from there. Thanks, you got it, thanks.
Dave Blaney has had some impressive qualifying runs for Prison Motorsports. I remember when he ran here for Bill Davis, nearly won a race here in Atlanta, but for a miscue on pit road. This will be his 21st Atlanta start.
Had it won.
Yes.
Had the best car that day. Remember the old wheel came off down the back.
Sure did.
Picked a fine time to leave him.
Driving for Bill Davis. You know, I think we need to expand on something that Jimmy said in his interview. He's going to go back and look at Dartfish. The teams, they have people on top of the roof here, and what he'll be able to do, they'll be able to go back and look and overlay his lap to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s lap, and it'll tell him exactly where he ran on the track versus the 88.
Blaney's the quickest of our go-or-go homers, quickest of 2 with a 29:24. You have to beat 3 to be assured of racing here on Sunday.
Seafood, and Ryan will bring us some hot tornadoes. We'll be set.
Yeah, and somebody will build a fire in a barrel out there. We'll be all right.
Eric Almirola has 1 nationwide and 2 Camping World truck starts here. The Tampa, Florida native will turn 26 on March 14th.
Now, I started to go by the garage here and tell this group to give me a radio. That way, if you run fast enough on lap 1, I will tell you that's good enough, because he wrecked in his second qualifying lap last week at Las Vegas and was in the show on lap 1.
Yeah. Looks like the 29, 20s or 30s, maybe the 30s, will get you in the show for sure. Let's see where Almirola stacks up.
I don't feel good about that. 29:58. He'll definitely have to go ahead and probably run that second lap. Ooh, got bad loose over there, but he stayed in the throttle because he knows he has to go or he's going to go home.
You know, this is another good indicator to me. If he can pick up on this second lap, that just tells you the track's colder and doesn't have the grip than it had earlier, because getting a better second lap means that there's heat in the tires, which took a little bit longer.
Well, he gains a 10th, 29:47, but that hardly moves him up the board.
But that 10th in that area could be critical.
Well, you never know. If you can pick up, it's worth it. Last week he didn't need to do that. This week, got to do it.
So 3 drivers have attempted: Blaney, Speed, and Almirola. He joined us late. Dale Earnhardt Jr., fastest qualifying lap ever with a NASCAR COT, is on pole right now.
Back to Almirola, he ran a second lap at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, and that's what got him in the show. His first lap was not in.
That's
true. I guess, Larry, the driver has a hard time deciding what to do. Like last week when we said he should have won and done. But if every week you got to run that second lap to get in, you're just programmed to do it. And even though it got him in trouble.
Yeah.
Mike Bliss in the Wave Energy Drink Chevrolet, former Camping World Truck champ, has 1 top 10 start here.
Some cars been running a little bit better this year.
They haven't had the greatest luck. Had a good qualifying run and a good finish at Auto Club Speedway. Had a little problem early last week at Las Vegas.
Now the green line on that ticker at 26th position. That's the lock-in spot. That's where Dave Blaney is.
I think he'll be all right.
It'll be pretty close to it. 29:31. That should be okay. It will lock Dave Blaney into the race. And Bliss right now is the second quickest go-homer.
We're good.
Yeah, I think I mean, what do you got to beat? 3 guys?
Three guys. Yeah, he beat Scott Speed by 1/100th of a second.
Next, Bobby Labonte and front row Joe Nemechek. Bobby Labonte will start his 35th Atlanta Motor Speedway race on Sunday. There was an 11-race stretch where, except for one DNF, he had 5 wins and 9 top 5s in those 11 races, driving for Joe Gibbs. Now, he will be in the show. Whether it's by the past champions provisional or this qualifying lap remains to be seen.
Car's got a pretty harsh ride to it, but sometimes that can create a lot of speed, keeping the car stuck to the racetrack.
Yeah, he was 6th quickest of the go-home cars earlier today.
Good lap. He's in 21st. Bobby Labonte will start his 35th Atlanta Motor Speedway race on Sunday. There was an 11-race stretch where, except for one DNF, he had 5 wins and 9 top 5s in those 11 races, driving for Joe Gibbs. Now, he will be in the show. Whether it's by the past champions provisional or this qualifying lap remains to be seen.
Car's got a pretty harsh ride to it, but sometimes that can create a lot of speed, keeping the car stuck to the racetrack.
Yeah, he was 6th quickest of the go-home cars earlier today.
Good lap. He's in 21st. 29:13. Bobby Labonte is the quickest of the go-home crowd.
So he's smiling, and Bill Elliott is smiling now because Bill knows he's going to race no matter what.
That big sigh of relief we just heard was from Bill Elliott. Because he said they weren't very good.
Right. He's the other past champion in the field. So now, if the champions provisional is needed, Labonte doesn't need to use it, and Elliott could.
I tell you what, to be a single car operation like that Bobby Labonte car, Kevin Buckler, they really do a nice job with that race car.
They do. Joe Nemechek trying for his 33rd Atlanta start. Front row Joe had one trip here to the front row, driving the 01 in 2004. Started outside pole.
I think he qualified 8th here, possibly
8th last
a year ago, and laid down a good qualifying run last week at Vegas. Qualified 15th.
All right, to lock in right now, you need to beat 29:31. That's Mike Bliss. That is the green line, is Bobby Labonte. So Bliss right now is 30th. Joe's got a little work to do.
He's got a lot of work to do.
We'll see that happening.
He's on pace to run about a 50.
He's actually losing time.
I don't think a 50 will do it.
I mean, right now,
right there.
a 29:11 is 20th, and a 29:31 is not locked in this show right now.
34th for Nemechek, a 29:34. Nice pickup from turn 4 to the finish line, but the only car he's beaten right now is Eric Almirola. So lap 2 is a must for Nemechek.
He lost there, but he ought to pick it up off of 4 here if the car will stick for him.
Times are very close right in that area. That's why the tracker's jumping back and forth. He's going to do it.
He's going to pick up. Yep.
Not enough to move him ahead of Scott Speed. A 29:324 to Scott Speed's 29:321. Nemechek locks Mike Bliss into the field, but right now the 3 slowest cars are Speed, Nemechek, and Almirola among the go-homers.
You know, since we've went to this go-home format, we've seen people get knocked out and sent home over a few thousands.
That's right. The Motorcraft Quick Lane Tire and Auto Center Ford. Bill Elliott from Dawsonville for the Wood Brothers. He's trying to make his 810th career start. That'll move him into 6th on the all-time list. 6 different drivers have won here for the Wood Brothers. That's the most among car owners.
810 starts, that has a familiar ring to it.
Is that how many you started?
That's how many I had.
He bottomed out real bad in turn 1 and 2. Yeah, Bill, I guess, would definitely be the only guy remotely down in the garage area that's driven all 3 generations of cars.
Right.
The cars that we ran prior to 1981, and of course the car we just finished running, and now this car.
And he will race on Sunday. Right now, it looks like he might have to take that provisional at 29:33.
Whoa, Bill. Whoa now. Whoa, buddy.
I think he's
might be enough right
finally
there.
said enough.
No.
The drivers who have won here for the Wood brothers: Cale Yarborough, David Pearson, Marvin Panch, A.J. Foyt, Neil Bonnet, and Morgan Shepherd. Tomorrow, right here on Speed.
Oh, they've come across the finish line here sideways, backwards,
in
sliding.
the grass, upside down, you name it. Terry Cook trying to make his first race of the year, a graduate of the Camping World Truck Series. Qualified. Trying to make his first show of the year. And this team has just struggled to find speed this season.
Car just doing that huge porpoise that you were seeing with some other cars earlier, Darrell.
Makes it difficult to keep it in the track.
Yeah, that's not going to do it at all, I don't think. 29.78.
When you see the front ends pop up and down like that, that's just a driver cannot feel. He feels that, and all he can do is either crank the wheel and slow it down, or let off the gas.
So Bobby Labonte is in, Dave Blaney is in, Mike Bliss is in, and this run will lock Scott Speed into the field.
Yep.
And Cook is on the bottom of the go home list at a 29.78.
Just no speed there.
3 cars to go.
Now Max Pappas, his next car, he was pretty quick in practice, wasn't he? Or he was at one time.
He actually, Darrell, was one of the. Now Mike Bliss was the quickest of the go homers. Pappas was 3rd quickest of the go homers.
So here's Mad Max in the Geico Toyota. 35th in the point standings, qualified 21st at Las Vegas. And only 35th in the driver standings, but in the owner standings, only 17 points out of the top 35. Terry Cook, the bubble car, 29.78.
Tell you, I like the way he looks coming to the green. The car got down into 3 nice and smooth. The car's down in the track. Pretty good looking ride right at this point.
Well, we talk about it always at the 1.5 and 2 mile racetrack. You know the money lap is going to be on lap 1. How you get through 3 and 4 is awfully critical to the net time on the lap.
Not showing any speed though, is he?
He's got to get to the green line. That's 32nd. Or Joe Nemechek will be locked in.
Well, he's trying, I tell you.
Believe he's going to get there, it looks like.
He did it.
Yeah.
31st. 29.31. Max Pappas is in. Terry Cook goes home. And it's down to Joe Nemechek or Eric Almirola versus Michael McDowell and Casey Mears, who have yet to run.
I'm a little disappointed in my little NASCAR performance buddy, Booty Barker. Where is that voice on that radio?
Yeah, what are you doing, Booty? Booty, as a crew chief, said, maybe he can pick up.
Well, second lap.
Okay, the first lap I had was a 30.
That was Booty Barker.
That's good enough? Okay, a 31. I think we're good. Okay, we're good, I think. I think we're good, bro.
Booty, you're good.
You trying to convince him or yourself?
You should have known that. No, I don't think Booty knew what he ran on that first one, or he wasn't sure anyway. Of course, it's real close right there, you know.
Yep. Yeah, you got Pappas at a 31, you've got Speed at a 32, Nemechek at a 32, and Elliott at a 33, all right there together.
Yep.
So Scott Speed will race. Here is Michael McDowell trying to bump Eric Almirola. And to lock in, he needs to beat a 29.32. To just bump Almirola, he'll need a 29.47. And then it'll be up to Casey Mears.
Kid's been a pretty good qualifier, I can tell you that. And he's not afraid to go fast.
He ran the nationwide race here last September. This is his first trip here in the Sprint Cup Series.
He's got work to do, though.
You can't count him out to See how he gets off of 4, because a lot of guys have lost time off of 4. See if he can pull it back here.
Almirola 38th. That's going to be close.
Be right there on top of him. I mean,
yeah, with a 29.43.
Keep on digging, dude. Keep digging. Need another 10th and a half.
He needs a 10th and a half to beat Nemechek. Now, the only way he could get in on that first lap time is if Casey Mears runs slower.
And Casey's going to have a time because they got
engine.
very little practice. They lost an engine shortly into that practice. It's going to be a very vertical mountain for that 90 car.
This car's in here. I tell you, he stepped it up. Well, he had it there for all till a late exit of 4. Let's see.
He picked it up.
That's quicker, but it doesn't move him up the board, Larry. And Nemechek's locked in. That'll lock in Joe Nemechek. So we come down to the final pairing, and it'll be this man, Michael McDowell, versus Casey Mears for the final spot in the field. Terry Cook and Eric Almirola already headed home.
Well, these boys here said they needed a little more horsepower. They got the engine they came here with blew up, and they put another one in. Might make the difference.
Yeah, smellmycar.com is a new line of air fresheners for automobiles as Casey tries to make his 15th start at Atlanta. And they have not yet made a race for Keyed Up Motorsports in 2010. He's got to beat 29.37.
What a terrible place to be in. Last car out, got to get in on time. Hadn't had much practice.
Flirting with it.
If it'll just stick for him down there in that bottom groove so he can get back in the throttle.
Just doesn't look like the speed's going to be there halfway down the back straightaway.
He might have a little something laid up for him, though. You know, it's a new engine in the car.
Gave up a spot in the backstretch. Just didn't carry that kind of speed down the straightaway.
Couldn't get off the 4. Not good.
And for the 4th week in a row, Casey Mears will be disappointed. He'll go home unless he picks it up on lap number 2.
Got another lap here, and kind of desperation lap now.
Oh yeah, he's got to go.
Drive it in there and hang on to it, cast it up wide open, and hope she sticks. She's doing the hopping around, but maybe he can get it back. It's going to be really close.
Looks like he's going to be about where he ran that first lap.
Yeah.
A 10th quicker, Larry, but not fast enough.
Nope.
So Casey Mears and Keyed Up Motorsports will head home. Michael McDowell earns the final spot in the field for Prism Motorsports.
Well, all I do know, call in the dogs and ring the bell and call the neighbors. Junebug's on the pole.
It's been since April 2008 in Texas since Dale Earnhardt Jr. has started on the pole. Krista, he ran the fastest lap ever in qualifying for a NASCAR Car of Tomorrow.
And Mike, the first thing Dale Jr. did, congratulate and thank all of his teammates. I know this makes the weekend a lot better. Is this an indicator of how good your car will be for Sunday?
Well, you know, we'll just have to see tomorrow during race trim practice. And I've always enjoyed racing here. It's a great racetrack, and it's in a great location. It's got a lot of history, and I enjoy doing well here. So I want to thank AMP Energy and National Guard and Chevrolet and all our sponsors, and Rick and all the guys back in the engine shop. This is an engine racetrack, so that thing was doing good tonight. The boys did a good job putting together a good car, so we'll work on it tomorrow and see what we get.
And you mentioned the boys. How much fun are you having with this group? Are things gelling and having a good time?
I feel pretty confident with this group. They're a lot of fun. We're building some pretty good relationships. The changes we've made have given us a lot of confidence, and when we can go out and get on the racetrack and do some good things, it just helps build that. So we'll try to keep it up, and we'd like to be able to have this kind of success on the racetrack on Sundays, so we'll keep working to make it happen.
All right, he had a former pole here, but that was in the fall. This is his first pole in the spring at Atlanta.
Thanks, Krista. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Busch on row number 1. On Paulo Montoya, Mark Martin, row 2. We'll be back to Atlanta to wrap things up.
It's quite a sight.
Yeah. Well, the last half dozen Atlanta races have been won from the first 3 rows. The last 12 races here have been won from the first 11 starts. So, is your winner for Sunday in this crowd?
There's some good ones in there, I can tell you that.
Tell you what, that's a great run for Elliott Sadler and that 19 group. They needed something like that.
Man, Rudy Tootie up here in the top 10.
Jimmy Johnson all the way back on row 8. Remember, he started row 10 last week at Las Vegas.
Oh, we'll get the old tracker warmed up and watch him come to the front.
I'm going to keep an eye on Kevin Harvick coming out of the 18th row. He's got a long way to go. I don't think it'll take him all that long to get there.
Started 34th last week.
That's right. There's your 43-car field. 3 drivers failed to qualify: Almirola, Mears, and Cook. I'm going to go freeze myself to a seat in the grandstand and watch the Whelen Southern Modified Tour while you fellas go do trackside.
Trackside, that's us.
All right.
Run, Junebug, run.
Trackside is next.